Hello, guys, and thank you so much for joining me on this first game of the Colts season episode of Indiana Sports Connection. Let's get right into it. What we saw on the field yesterday, what I think about Anthony Richardson and the entire team moving forward, and what to expect from this team going forward. I think there's a lot of positive, there's some negative. We're going to talk about it all on this episode. Let's get right into it. But first, this episode is brought to you by the good people at Mattress Warehouse. If you want to find a one-of-a-kind mattress and get a warehouse price and get a really great name brand mattress, come to Mattress Warehouse. Visit me at 4830 Lima Road or any of our locations in Fort Wayne. We have a store on Illinois Road. We have a store on Coliseum. So sleep is so important to your overall health. A great mattress and getting that right back support. Every 10 years, you really need to refresh your mattress, and getting a new mattress is going to go a long way for your overall health. What you don't realize also is that your body changes every 10 years. So every 10 years, you need a new mattress. You need to go and find something that is going to be comfortable for you so you can get that great night's sleep, feel refreshed, be better at work, and be better everywhere you go when you're getting that sleep that you so utterly deserve. So let's get right into what went on with the Indianapolis Colts yesterday. So let's just go through some of the stats for the team stats. Total yards, Colts 280 to the Jaguars 342. Passing yards, Colts 215 to the Jaguars 237. Rushing yards, this is a big spot that was down, and I heard a lot of people saying it was all because of Jonathan Taylor not being there. Colts 65 rushing yards to the Jaguars 105. Yards per play, Colts 4.1 to the Jaguars 5. First downs, 18 first downs for the Colts. So they moved the ball. Anthony Richardson was able to get out in some space and create some running lanes, and he delivered some really nice, crisp passes in the game. So 18 first downs to the 20 first downs for the Jaguars. The Jaguars were 3 of 12 on third down, and the Colts were 2 of 12. So neither team was good on third down. Both of the defenses held up pretty strong on third down. 1 of 3, the Jaguars were on fourth down efficiency. The Colts were 1 of 5. Total play, both teams had 69 plays exactly. The Colts had 4 sacks. Anthony Richardson got sacked 4 times. Trevor Lawrence got sacked 2 times. Both teams had 5 punts. Both teams had 4 penalties. The Colts lost 2 fumbles, and the Jaguars lost 1 fumble. And both teams had 1 interception. The time of possession, Jaguars were 33 minutes and 37 seconds to the Colts 26 minutes and 23 seconds. And I think that does go away. I think the Colts, for them to win games, the Colts are going to have to win the time of possession. And by possessing the ball by more time, you're going to give your defense better chances to get well rested on the sidelines. Now, some of the things that happen in a game, like, you really can't control. When Trevor Lawrence had the ball fly out of his hand and that fumble, and Zaire Franklin, what a great heads up play to realize that the play was not over. Jacksonville was just not paying attention to what was happening out there. So he just goes up to this guy's like nonchalantly holding it, and he just knocks it out of his hand. And then Buckner runs in for a touchdown. What a great heads up play by him. Zaire Franklin, we're going to talk about the good, bad, and the ugly in this. Zaire Franklin played one hell of a game. He came out, made tackles all over the field. He had 10 tackles and 8 assists, so 18 tackles total for this guy. He's in on a lot of plays, and he just looked like the real team leader. Now, we did see Darius Leonard was out there on the field finally after spending almost an entire season injured. was good to see Darius Leonard at least get out on the field. His conditioning is coming along, so as the next 4 or 5 weeks go along, I believe he's going to be playing more and more. I was glad to see both him and Franklin able to get out there together. But, I have heard some quotes from him that he's been kind of feeling because Franklin has become more of the team leader on defense. And so hopefully Leonard can just recapture that once, be the maniac that he was about 2 years ago when he had all those turnovers and all those interceptions. I'm sure it's going to come back. This guy, he's a one-of-a-kind guy and really one of the greatest guys you'll ever see interviewed or anything like that. So I think this guy is going to, make his way back into the rotation and have a really good year. But let's talk about Anthony Richardson. He played really a great game with no running game whatsoever. The running game and the offensive line in the second half was where the Colts' downfall was in this game, was on the offensive line. Richardson threw the ball really, really well. If you were going to tell me, all right, so Richardson in the game, 24 of 37, 223 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. If you would have told me that was going to be his stats in the first game against the Jaguars team that the Colts historically have struggled against in the last 5 or 6 years, I'd say that is pretty dang good. He just has to learn how to win in the NFL. When you have a 4-point lead in the fourth quarter, you have to be able to pick up first downs and run the ball. Now, I know it's not his fault. And being a new player, also, you can see you're not going to audible. You're not going to get into doing that type of thing. In time, he will learn the game more and more and learn how to win in these situations. But I do think he had an outstanding first day. We have a lot to be excited for as Colts fans to watch how this guy develops over the year. Whether or not they win a lot of these games, like yesterday, he looked really great on a lot of his throws. This guy has a quick release. The other thing you can tell is he has so much stronger of an arm than what Matt Ryan had. Matt Ryan, he had a rag arm. He could not even get the ball out to the sideline on bubble screens fast enough for the guy to actually catch the ball and make a move on anybody. We saw him throw the screen out to Pittman, zipped it right out there. His ball has a lot of zip on it when it comes out of his hand. Pittman was able to catch the ball, see the blocking, and get a couple of linemen pulled out and got out in front of him. And then he just kept right on running. As I thought somebody was going to make a move or tackle him or something, and he just kept hauling ass down the sideline and made his way into the end zone. Great game by Michael Pittman. 8 receptions, 97 yards, a 12.1 average catch, and 1 touchdown. Really, he's up for a big contract this next year. He's really the guy. If anybody should be bitching about not getting money deserved to them, it should be Michael Pittman. He's silently, if he can put together a really great season this season, he'll make big-time money. a lot more money than Jonathan Taylor. But that is the thing. I was listening to 107 The Fan after the game, and some people are calling in and saying that the Colts need Jonathan Taylor, and even Kent Sterling out there saying the Colts need to pay Jonathan Taylor. No. The Colts do not need to pay Jonathan Taylor. Not more than $4 million for this year. You can't pay this guy $12 or $13 million. For one, he's injured. For two, we have Zach Moss coming back next week. Moss was a pretty good backup running back for the Buffalo Bills. I remember a couple of games the Colts played him. Always thought he had decent moves. 3, you could get Huntley is still out there, or Kareem Hunt is still out there. He very well could come in with him and Zach Moss, be a better duo of running backs. What we saw yesterday, 3 guys playing running back that had barely been on any NFL field. Deion Jackson looked absolutely awful. He had some drop balls, he had 13 carries for 14 yards. Oh my God, that is so bad. And then he also had 5 receptions for 14 yards. Deion Jackson did. So, the first game for this guy, but I would say this, the offensive line is grossly underperforming, and especially against the Jaguars. This has been an issue since, before the Carson Wentz game. I went back and looked at some of the stats. So September 18th, 2022, the stats here I just pulled up. So Jonathan Taylor in this game from September 18th, 2022, 9 carries for 54 yards against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was not the reason why the Colts lost this game because Taylor was not on the field. The Colts have something, I don't know if it's a mental block or if it's what is happening with the offensive line when they play against certain teams, but they just get absolutely dominated. They got dominated in the second half by Jacksonville's defensive line. They just were able to push the Colts around and bully ball them. And then, really that happened to the Colts defense got a little bit worn down, I felt like, in the last 10 minutes of the game. I feel like if they can switch the time of possession, even though it wasn't a grossly terrible time of possession game for the Colts. 26 minutes, but I feel like they gotta be at like 33 or 34 minutes and have their defense have a little bit more of that downtime. And that will happen when you can open up lanes and you can get more first downs by running the football and make them. And then when you do that, you make the other team bring a safety up. And that's when Anthony Richardson can throw the ball down the field. Listening to Shane Steichen in the press conference afterwards, he did say, they had some 3 or 4 plays dialed up to throw the ball deep to Alec Pierce, and the Jaguars had a safety back deep on those plays. If they were holding a safety deep and we can't run the ball and we can't get a push with 7 or 6 guys in the box and we're not able to run the ball, that is on the offensive line. The other part was, not being able to pick up these 1-yard plays on 4th down. That was the offensive line got no push whatsoever. That was the one play where they were down in field goal range and Steichen went for it. I'm not going to get into it because I know a lot of people are pissed off. Like, why didn't he kick the field goal at the end of the game? I feel like as a coach, you go by the feel that you have right there. How often are you going to be able to get the ball down within the 5-yard line, like where the Colts were? I feel like he did the right thing. Like, you got to get it in for a touchdown right there because you're close and you're never going to get that close again. I feel like that was his thought process. So I'm okay with that. That's not the worst thing in the world that they lost the game anyway. Everyone said, yes, if they would have kicked the field goal right there, you stay alive, you keep the game alive, you're able to go and do an onside kick. But I really can't blame him for that because I do feel like they were so close that they wanted to punch it in for the touchdown. Now, on some of those 4th down plays, I don't agree. I feel like he should have taken the field goal. They were down to about the 30-yard line. It would have been like a 7-yarder or something like that. And they went for it on 4th and 1 and got absolutely no push. It was like the Jacksonville defensive line went like straight at the legs of the Colts. And the Colts linemen almost looked like they all just laid down. And like Anthony Richardson laid down on top of him. And he was short. And so they got to get that stuff worked out. This offensive line has to get a burr up their ass and fire off on somebody. Quentin Nelson, it used to be the, real, I don't know if he was ever really a team leader. He seems like a really quiet guy to me. But they have to do something different to get some guys pushing, or maybe they can just design some different type of run plays. I do believe in Shane Steichen. I think he's a good coach, and I think he knows how to come up with a lot of different types of running plays. And so we'll see. Like, are they going to run some more like counters or trap plays, or, to me, the Colts need to get Nelson, get these guards out in the open field and get them, get guys pulling out into the perimeter to help out and run some different types of plays. We don't really know. The best guess we can have is just look at what the Eagles did last year, and the Colts are going to do something similar on offense because Steichen was their offensive coordinator last year. But all in all, I had a really fun time watching this game. I'm so happy the Colts don't have some old has-been. Like, watching Matt Ryan last year was just complete garbage. And I think Jonathan Taylor is going to come back after this 4 weeks because he really has no choice. And at that point, we'll find out if he's really injured or what's going on with this guy. But there is light at the end of the tunnel for the Colts. They got a young guy who's super athletic, a couple of scary plays, like right in the first half. I don't know if he got hit like in the thigh, but he kind of like came up limping a little bit right there. And then right at the very end of the game, but Richardson is totally fine. Steichen said he was just that he's totally fine. There was no real injury that happened there. He got hit on the knee on the play earlier in the game, so that's just like he'll have a little bit of swelling in his knee, but it's not like some type of long-term injury or anything like that. It's just little bumps and bruises, but that's gonna happen. I couldn't be more happy with how Richardson played in the game, and I just think the Colts have a lot to look forward to. And next week they play the Texans. Hopefully they can really just like the Texans got trounced yesterday, and only the Jacksonville Jaguars won this week in the division. So Tennessee got beat as well. So, hey, the Colts could definitely get a wild card this year. I believe the other divisions, the North Division, AFC North, the East, and the West are all going to be stacked with a lot better teams than what the Colts have in their division. So if they could get to 9 or 10 wins, they could definitely maybe make the playoffs with a 9-win season. And we saw Richardson out there for a guy who barely played in college. He looked refined. He looked like he belonged. He looked like the most talented player on the Colts offense most of the day. And this guy can run away from anybody. I'm so happy he's there and they can finally. And you know what? I am happy they got him instead of even CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. I think out of all these guys that he just has the best potential because of his athleticism and just everything that he brings to the table. I think he's a really mature guy, and he's making some really great moves out there. And hey, there's going to be some growing pains with this guy, but hey, the Colts, the defense, I think the biggest thing with the team is just flipping the time of possession and being able to run the ball. And Steichen, if he can get that leveled out where they can run the ball in the fourth quarter, that goes a long way of letting your team win a game like that. Because games are won in the last 5 minutes in most all of these NFL games. If you can't run the ball and get first downs, you're just leaving the door open for all. There are so many good quarterbacks in the AFC for one of these guys to come back and beat you in the end. But that's going to do it for today. I'm going to try to make a video every day this week for the channel. Thank you so much for joining me. If this is your first time here, subscribe to the channel. My name is Aaron. I've had a few YouTube channels, and I just wanted to start this one and talk about the Colts because it's always so near and dear to my heart, the Colts and Indiana basketball and just all sports around Indiana. So thank you so much for joining me, and it's till next time. Stay classy out there, Colts fans.